ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति 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 So today's subject is avidya. Before getting into that, let's have a little background of what Shruti says about Vidya or whether avidya is there or whatever. Shrutis declare na iha nana asti kinchana. There is no manyness or there is no plurality here whatsoever. Shrutis point out that duality does not exist in any which way you look at it because the Jagat which we see till the time we keep recognizing this creation, it is the Karya effect. Jagat is the Karya of that Brahman who is the Karana. Therefore, the creation can never be separate from Brahman who is the cause. When there is a creation of a pot, there is a material cost and there is an efficient cost. Material cost being the clay, water, etc., and the efficient cost is the intellect or the brain of the potter who can give it any shape he wants. Whereas when it comes to creation of this universe, for theoretical sake, you can say material cost, efficient cost, etc. But then there is only one cost. There are not two causes. There is only one cause, that is Brahman. Because there is nothing, or there is nothing other than Brahman. So there is only one cause. And therefore the effect has to be nothing but the cause. The effect cannot be different from the cause in this one creation aspect. When it comes down, then the potter is totally different and what emerges is totally different. But in the case of creation, cause and effect are the same. And retracing from the ultimate effect, Prakriti to Purusha, is the goal of our life. The classic example in Vedanta given is the example of the spider. Curious sadhakas may surf through Atma Bodha blog post to get this particular post where the spider weaves the net out of its saliva and it rests on that. So the source from where the effect is coming is the same. Both are same. The effect has not emerged out of anything else at all. The spider example is a classic example in Vedanta. So, with the above clarity, if you see carefully, there can be, by now it is assumed that we are all very clear about avidya because it has been taken in an elaborate manner in the MBCS session. With the above clarity, there can be no avidya because avidya is possible where there is plurality. Avidya is possible where there exists a jiva apart from Brahman, or there exists a jiva apart from the jiva Atman. Since the cause and the effect are the same, in the effect there can be no plurality, there can be no manyness. So, the truth is that there is no avidya whatever at all. The truth, however sadly we may experience avidya and the further manifestation, further children of the avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, ityadi, but actually there is nothing called avidya. Ultimately, when we say that ultimately there is nothing called creation. So in the next level, okay, let us assume the creation is there because we are perceiving creation till the time we transcend the creation. But the creation is there, but with the spider example, with the pot example, with so many example, the chain does not exist per se. There is only gold. It is up to us whether we are going to see the chain in that or the gold in that. So, with the above clarity, creation is there, but creation is nothing other than Brahman. So, all the jivatmas existing in the creation, ultimately, it follows that they are not different from Brahman. So, if they are not different from Brahman, then assuming that avidya is possible in the jivas who are nothing other than Brahman is like talking about child of a barren woman who can never be a child, right? Still, sadly, avidya exists. Till the time we recognize and we transcend the avidya, we recognize that we are not this anything about this avidya at all. We are verily that Atman. We are perceiving plurality in our life. We are distinguishing between ourselves and the others in this creation, which means that sadly avidya is there. Otherwise, suppose, imagine the first evolution, first creation. All those who were born in the first creation, they were all born realized and they could never perceive plurality at all. Then, at the time of pralaya, involution, all of them would have gone merged and the creation would have come to a standstill at all, completely. The very fact that human beings are born again and again, again and again, again and again, and undergoing the effect of their karmas, which means that avidya is there. If a human being is having sanchita prarabdha karma, that means avidya is there. Simple. A quick recap into the avidya, what we learned in the MBCS session. Yoga Sutras 2.4 verse. We dealt with this in the MBCS session. Avidya kshetram uttaresham prashupta tanu vichinna udharanam. Avidya, spiritual forgetting, ignorance. Kshetram, field. breeding ground, Uttaresham for the others, Prashupta, dormant, Tanu, weakened, Vichinna, distant, Udaranam, fully active. So, the root forgetting or ignorance of the nature of the things, avidya, is the breeding ground for the other colorings, kleshas. And each of this is in one of four states. All the five kleshas, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Either they are dormant, or they are very weak, or they are separated temporarily, but anytime they can come and dominate. And the worst is very active and producing thoughts or actions to varying degrees. In this, the essence avidya is the spiritual ignorance. A plus vidya, the spiritual ignorance. The second, next verse 2.5 of the Yoga Sutra says, Anitya ashuchi dukkha anatmashu nitya shuchi sukha atman kyate avidya. That is, anitya, non-eternal, impermanent, ephemeral, is taken as nitya, eternal, everlasting. Ashuchi, impure, is considered as, is missed by mistake, considered as pure. Dukkha, misery, painful, sorrowful, etc., is stupidly, foolishly considered as happiness, sukha. Anatmashu, non-self, is taken as atman, self. Okay. This is this four mistakes. This is, what is this? This is avidya, spiritual forgetting, ignorance, veiling. So ignorance, seeing the temporary as eternal. For example, thinking that the earth and moon are permanent, or behaving as if our possessions are permanently ours, forgetting that all of them will go, everything will go. And this so-called ownership is only relative and is bound by time space. Mistaking the impure for the pure, believing that our thoughts, emotions, opinions, motives are in relation to ourselves or to other persons. They or the situation, believing that they are all good, healthy, spiritual, etc., when they are actually a mixture of vasanas, tendencies, or inclinations. Confusing the painful to be painful to be pleasureful. In our social, cultural settings, there are many actions that seems pleasure filled in the moment, only later to be found as painful in retrospection. You can count thousands and thousands of such things in our lives, in your lives. Thinking the non-self to be self. We may think of our country, our name, our body, our profession, all these things to be I am. I am Ram. I am an Indian. Okay, I am a doctor. I am a chartered accountant. I am this. All these we think ourselves to be. All these are anatman. They are all temporary. They are all relative to this particular birth of ours. And confusing this with who I really am. Vidya is the knowledge. Vidya means knowledge, specifically the knowledge of truth. It is not knowledge per se, like arithmetic or physics or chemistry. So, also, to overcome avidya, we cannot add more knowledge of anything and transcend avidya. Any amount of spiritual knowledge is not going to remove avidya. It is not merely adding knowledge, it is to transcend the avidya. then you reach the state of Vidya. This has to be very clear. So, the purpose of all sessions, all messages, all posts of him or for or all masters, incarnation, everything, indefinitely and unendingly, if we are all going to keep on accumulating knowledge without without undergoing a meditation process where the knowledge turns into subjective experience, your avidya, by mere knowledge with worldly knowledge or even spiritual knowledge, is not going to make you overcome avidya. For transcending avidya, all the knowledge has to be transferred to experience. Dridrisha Viveka, when he has ultimately concluded and the source of source is here, then ideally one must not get sleep till the time 1 day, 2 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, till the time 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, little sleep is required to get up and take up the worldly activities, arthakama. But one must not sleep so very easily till the time one gets the glimpse of that source of source. That is the purpose of all the spiritual knowledge. Otherwise, spiritual knowledge will be equal to science, arts, commerce, photography, everything, except it is also one more knowledge gained. No use. And that is why people leave spirituality midway, because they take up spirituality and they add up knowledge of certain verses, certain texts, and certain appealing uh, treaties, and they keep on adding up the knowledge like they have added other knowledge. Other knowledge gives them bread and butter. Other knowledge give them an empowerment in the society. Spiritual knowledge, they are not able to transfer that into subjective experience. So they do not give them anything at all. They rather leave them in a vacuum, in a state where they feel guilty that I am not getting experience. So they throw spirituality and get back into the field of enjoyment in the life. From that is why sadhana chatushtaya, mumukshatva. You should be very, 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 very clear as to what is my purpose, why I am born with this body, what is my purpose, why I am existing on this earth. And sadly, due to my previous karmas, I have separated myself from that my true, from God or from my true existence. Nothing more to be gained afresh. I have to retrace my journey and then I have to go and merge to my original identity. That is the purpose. While drinking, while bathing, while eating, while going to sleep, while doing all the activities, this should be ringing in my ears as this is my goal, this is my goal, this is my goal, this is my goal. Otherwise, spiritual knowledge will not, it will fetch you with, in fact, frustration, because you will not be able to experience. You have passed the degree of cost accountancy or chartered accountancy, it is getting you Omani Real. You have passed medicines, you are practicing. You are able to build up mansion, you are able to build up your home, etc., etc. Spiritual knowledge does not give you anything at all. It becomes a burden if you are not able to experience. With this background, now we are coming to Moksha Gita. The Guru said, Avidya is Malina Sattva, that is contaminated Sattva. It is the Upadhi or conditioning or the limiting agent of the jiva. It is the karana sharira of the individual soul. Avidya is Anandamaya Kosha. Avidya is the same as Maya. Maya is with reference to Ishvara, macrocosm. Avidya is with reference to Jiva, microcosm. The individual is controlled by Avidya, whereas Ishvara is the master of Maya. We dealt with this in very great detail. We tabulated, and 5, 6 points we tabulated in the last session. Two, in what are all the factors where it distinguishes between Jiva and Ishvara. The force of avidya limits the consciousness to such an extent that the individual is falsely made to believe that its body is the entire truth. Not only the body, but even the objects, persons fictitiously connected with the interests of the body are also superimposed on the self. And their loss or pain is considered as a real loss or pain. We dealt with it already in considering impure to be pure, impermanent to be permanent. Or everything, the root cause of all our miseries is our identifying ourselves with our body. In a subtler sense, that is asmita. Not actually. Asmita is I-ness or minus, but minus or I-ness comes from where? What is that I? This I is the body. For the body, we are using our mind to glorify our physical existence. We are using our intellect to glorify our physical existence. And in the glorification of our physical existence, our mind gets attracted or develops aversion, raga, dvesha. For the sake of the glorification of our physical identity, it is gripped with the fear of change. All other things flow from this one identification that I am this. And howsoever you argue it out, howsoever you logically prove to yourself, leave alone others, logically prove to yourselves, howsoever at the mananam level, I am not the body, I am not the body, I am not the, like the parrot, 1 million times you keep on repeating, you can never transcend your identification with the body till the time you get that subjective, intuitive glimpse of your real existence. If he remembers, that was the first discourse over phone delivered to one of the sadhakas seated here when he called up and told her about being in a dark cave. Whether she remembers or not, he remembers very clearly. He told that arrested in the dark cave, howsoever you take efforts to clean up the stones, you will not get the light. Only on removing a stone, you will let the light usher in. So, stuck up in the avidya, heart, pair, maro, whatever you do, you cannot transcend avidya. You have to let that light illumination of Atman illumine you yourself. At that moment, your identification with the body says goodbye to you, prostrates to you, and leaves you forever. Avidya is Anandamaya Kosha in the sense, Anandamaya Kosha or the deep sleep state is basically a state of ignorance where there is absence of body, mind, intellect on one hand, and also absence of awareness of Atman on the other hand. Though the eternal witness Atman is there, 100% who conveys to you that you had a deep sleep yesterday, but still it is darkness, total, it is ignorance, because there is a possibility of you to have the glimpse in the waking state of that awareness. In the dream also there is a possibility that you are seeing your created your own self having a vision or having the awareness or having that pure experience, etc. In the deep sleep state there is no possibility of getting that awareness. So it is because of that Anandamaya Kosha deep sleep state is the state of avidya, darkness. Tamasoma Jyotirgamay. Tamas. Second verse. Avidya is the false perception by which ignorant jiva takes the body and intellect as pure, permanent, and source of pleasure. Actually, truthfully, there is no avidya. Why he is saying so? Because a jiva may take 100 births or 1,000 births or 10,000 births to realize his true identity as Atman. But when he realizes that, he is going to realize also that in the entire 10,000 births, he has always been that Atman, indivisible, birthless, changeless, deathless, motionless Atman. Any number of births you take, but ultimately you are going to realize not only at that on that D-Day, on that day moment, on that you are that Atman, you are going to laugh it away, and when you realize that you have always been this also. And all that I thought about myself and committed so many karmas, and where I was going through this punarapi janana maranam to clear the karmas, it was all my stupidity, it was all a mistake and misapprehension. I was never that at all. Why? Because go to the source first line, because there can be no manyness in the creation. He being the only cause, all the effect, the entire creation has to be that only cause, because the cause has never undergone any modification like a milk modifying itself or milk modifying itself to become a curd. There is no modification happening here. The whole of the cause is the whole of the effect. Therefore, we are never ever separate from that true existence, essence, pure canvas, Brahman at all. It is tragedy is that we are we are afflicted with this epidemic avidya, but the truth is that avidya is never there at all. What a contradiction, what an irony. Self does not create this creation itself, because that means there is no creation, Gaudapada, Ajatavada. Self does not create this creation because of the a non-existence of an entity second to the one self. There is no second, there is no leave no manyness, there is no second. If I say Brahman has created this creation, creation has to be separate from Brahman, which defeats all the revelations of the all the Upanishads. So ultimately, when you transcend avidya and when you get that moment of self-realization, there after, interestingly, and to your amazement, even while dealing with the creation, Even while intensely dealing with the creation from morning to night, you will never be able to actively perceive the creation, because, like a person who has drunk, consumed alcohol, and he doesn't know, leave alone the creation, he doesn't know where his dress is going, where he is sleeping. He may be sleeping on the mid road where trucks are coming, and just just extending this imagination, that that ananda rasa, that atma anubhuti, one who has got that self realization, he never comes down to the level of creation, though he may be existing in the creation. And interestingly, he was sharing with couple of sadhakas in his context, for those who believe in his state, two or three or four of you, that actually post realization one should not be actually physically in this creation also. He should leave this creation and he should move to caves, because Maya Nataka Sutradhari, he has created this creation with Maya in such a way that this creation assumes that Bhutakaram, that that phenomenal proportion to even shake up a realized master at times. So actually, 99% of the masters, you see, they have never been married or they are never in the creation. Few like this who is acute prarabdha is still there, still in the creation. Otherwise, one should leave the creation actually. Nothing in the creation is of any use or any rasa, any flavor, any interest anymore. And you stand in the creation with the creation hitting you from the day, from the morning to night, trying to disturb you, trying to disturb you, trying to disturb you. Even if you are not disturbed due to your transcendental state, at least moments come when you realize the creation is trying to disturb me. Even that is useless, even that feeling is not necessary. Coming back, Swami says, as long as you think that there is anything different from you, so long you are submerged in ignorance. There is nothing in the universe other than you or higher than you. To think otherwise or to try to prove otherwise is nothing but your mano bhranti, illusion of your mind. Exactly like a dream. In your dream, you see so many sights and experience so many things. But for how long they are real? Only as long as your dream lasts. When the dream ends, they are all unreal. Similarly, your hardships, your losses, your worry, your sorrow, all the experience, even good, bad, whatever experience, they are all real only as long as your mind is under delusion, moha, or gripped with avidya. Once the delusion leaves you, they will be all unreal. They will then turn out to be castles of myths created by your mind. Relying on the false I, you are rejecting the real I. You are boosting your ahankara by thinking continuously that you are the body. Words of Swami, not quoting from Upanishad, Avatar, from whom Upanishads have come. The universe is the dream, unquote Swami. The universe is the dream of the subjective self, the object of the revere of self. Krishnanandaji's words. Leave it. he, he, most of the commentary has been left in from this session onwards, because he is trying to make it more and more simpler, because if he has to quote Maharaj Krishnanandaji's words, then he has to take double time to make it simpler for you. And 1 hour session will go to 2 hour session. So he's just taking the essence. The body, mind, and the intellect, it would have flown from the source that he is. And he was the master in Hindi, and he was the master in English. The body, the mind, and intellect, and all the modifications of imagination are taken for granted as pure and perfect and a source of permanent happiness for the self. The self is the blissful eternal being, and it wishes to find bliss in what it has merely imagined and what really does not exist. Always, as his in Urdu, we call it as Takiya Kalam, what we say, a famous words of Acharya, that trying to find right things at wrong place. Just as a king acts the part of beggar out of his own free will on the stage in a drama, so also the Satchitananda Brahman, or in our case, Satchitananda Atman, acts the part of a jiva in this drama of the world out of his own free will for sport. So far, so good. If you are aware that the entire life is the drama and you are merely performing your role as a husband, as wife, as father, as mother, as doctor, as policeman, as whatever, as long as you are per Ishvara, that is why it tells Ishvara is the master of Maya. Okay, whereas we are slaves of Avidya. As long as we are very clear day in and day out, and we laugh at our various roles, because the policeman in the morning, he listens to the shouting of his wife, he is an obedient husband. Okay, and then when he picks up his mobile and takes leaves his child in the school, he's a very this thing uh, dutiful father, and comes back home and he puts up his cap and belt, and then wears the belt and shoes, and then starts in his bullet Royal Enfield. He's the policeman. So from the morning to evening, he assumes 10 roles, and nothing is permanent. When the child grows, okay, he is not going to leave the child in the school. When the wife is ultimately tired of shouting, she is not going to shout. And once he is retired, he is not going to go to him. Everything is temporary. So once we are able to laugh it away that the entire life is big drama that we are doing, and we are actually, though we have not experienced that subjective self, at least we are perfectly clear that we are enacting various roles, just as an actor would have performed. There would have been perhaps no role ever left not taken up by Shivaji Ganesan, okay, or Amitabh Bachchan, for say A to Z. But every time they are aware that they are camera on, start, they are doing the role. Stop, finished. Once they return to the caravan or they return to the chair, they are relaxed. They know that they are only acting. Okay. But what happens? So the king, as long as he is acting as a beggar, he is the king. Verily the king. Within, he never forgets for a moment that he is the king. Like that, we have to be actually. God is like that. God may be asking the students about the breakfast, about him. He even Swami even a how is your girlfriend? All these things Swami asks the students. What is a and once one this thing he even shared in the WhatsApp group. Swami gave a 45-minute lecture on idli. What are all the benefits of idli? How to make idli? What idli? And then when they come back, all the devotees they are filled with excitement and they are saying 45 minutes Swami would have spoken such tremendous spiritual subject. Please tell us. And how the students will tell that Swami spoke about idli for 45 minutes. Huh? No, Swami was telling something about Annamaya Kosha. They told and they left. Okay, Swami, while being so simple, and that is Maya actually. We get caught in the simplicity of Swami. We get caught in the simplicity of Swami. And now that he has stopped for some days due to the lack of response, but when he has been sharing things with you, you would have known that every statement in every state நீ என்னென்ன சொன்னாலும் கவிதை wrote a கவிஞர் in those days. Here every utterance of Swami is the Veda because Veda Upanishad Gita Sai. He from there originated Gita Upanishads Veda everything. What happens to him when he says this? So So, Swami is a command. Even while talking about idli, while talking about students, while talking about all these things, okay, he is verily that Nirguna Nirakara Para Brahman, Brahmanda Nayaka, Chandar Suraj Tumne Banaye, Nadiya Sagar Tumne. Everything you create, everything has emerged from you. Brahmandana. He is aware. But when we take up the low role, okay, when we take up a role in this life sojourn, we get caught up with our role so much so that we believe our roles to be so true, so true, so true. Mother believes that she is the mother eternally, eternally, for times immemorial, she is mother. And she does the role of the mother, laughs, cries, shouts, beats, does everything. Similarly, father, similarly, and staff, similarly, a manager, similarly, everyone. Are, tell me one single role which you have been performing like the sun, incessantly illumining this creation. Count and give me one role which you have been doing from the time you were born until today, whether you are in your 50s or 60s or 40s or 30s, or one role you tell me. How many roles you have changed, like changing the dresses every day? And still, most foolishly, we are caught up with this misapprehension that every role we take up is as though it is permanent, eternal. For those who are performing their mother's role, practice love with detachment. Shower love with a sense of detachment because the children will go one day. And the world is that before there were ages, there were stupendous advantages in the joint family system before. The children used to get married. Whether it was a boy, the girl would come and stay in the same But if it is a girl, she would be married to someone in the same village, in the next Agraharam street or whatever. All will be near and dear. Today, in this age, your children will go to the other part of the world and the love will remain. There is no fault of them. They will not have time to talk to you for weeks together. It is not undermining their life, love for you or your love for them. You have to understand that things are not going to be the same permanently. Those who are managers, those who are in the organization as a senior role, never ever get attached to that role, because everything, every benefit, every respect, every salam, and everything you are getting is for the chair, not for you. The chair goes, everything will go. You will be like somebody wandering on the streets. Nobody will even look at you. This is the fact of life. Not to point out mistakes at others. World has become like that. It is survival of the fittest in this world. Everybody is running, 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 running. Nobody has old poem which flashed in his school days. What if the world is full of glare? There is no time to stand and stare. There is no time for anybody. Nobody has the time to give to any other person. Whereas in our glorious giant family system, good old days, everybody has all the time for all others. In the house, in the village, everywhere. We lost everything to this materialization of the world, to the advancement, to the technology, to the nuclear family system, etc. Gone. Never ever believe that you are today, whatever you are, is going to be eternal. At least start practicing this from today onwards. So, this sentence of Krishnanandji is worth it's golden. So, he has to repeat. We get entangled in every role that we play in this life sojourn, and that is what, okay, this is Acharya's word. Okay, what yeah, Maharaj's word. If the king is to forget his pristine nature in his pretended state of the beggar, then the sport that the king is performing, that of a beggar, the sport is no more a sport, but it is an imprisonment in the consciousness of what he is not. Imprisonment in the consciousness of what he is not. Sixer, what he is saying, Maharaj is saying, we get entangled in every role that we play in the life, and that is what Acharya Krishnanandi says, imprisonment in the consciousness of what we are not. Consciousness is there in beggar, consciousness is there in this thing, consciousness is there in the camera, lights on, consciousness is there, everything. Okay. So, from the king, from the Atman that I'm, king of king, emperor of emperor, Shahenshah of Shahenshah, Shivananji's roar, Shahenshah of Shahenshah. From that state of consciousness, my consciousness gets imprisoned into the role of the beggar, of the jiva gripped with avidya. Consciousness is everywhere, DP Poor. Okay, okay, so consciousness, imprisonment of consciousness of what we are not. This is called samsara or bondage. Just as a man with a defective vision beholds a white thing as an yellow, So does one perceive the self as the body on account of avidya or ignorance. Need not elaborate. It is same another analogy to prove the same point. The man with a defective vision has got a perverted perception of things. Okay, okay, he will look here. It seems you will seems that he is looking there. Okay, so he will see a square thing and it will appear to him as oval, a round shape. Okay, if he looks at a broken mirror, his face will also look as broken. And that is what all about the colossal avidya, that ignorance that a jiva is gripped with. It has wrong notions about itself, this avidya, and its connection with the world and other individuals, because it disconnects itself from others and it believes that its life as such is eternal. The faith pinned on untruth transforms untruth to appear like truth. Mirage in the desert is the classic example. Okay, and the jiva is thus deceived by its own thought constructions. One more example, just as the mirror is dimmed by dirt, so Brahman is veiled by avidya. Therefore, human beings are deluded by this avidya. Mirror is dimmed by dirt. A pure mirror, Tridrisha Viveka, mirror intellect, which reflects the pure consciousness and further reflects to your mind, your senses, everything. That mirror intellect, when it is gripped by avidya, when in the MBCA diagram flow, the general manager buddhi intellect is ignored and he is put aside by the foreman ragadvesha, by the ahankara and the chitta. Mirror is dimmed by dirt, Brahman is veiled by avidya. Therefore, human beings are deluded by avidya. Mind, next verse. Mind, senses, egoism, intellect, and the body are all the effects of avidya. If the cause is destroyed, the effect is destroyed by themselves. In short, why to go so far to the mind, to that microcosm level of mind, senses, egoism? Let us accept the fact that the creation is the effect of your avidya. Though it will be maybe very difficult for novice sadhakas to even imagine this, but mano ya na mano. Like that sadhu said, mano ya na mano tum brahma ho. Similarly, mano ya na mano, only because you have added the alphabet A to Vidya and you are gripped with this avidya, spiritual ignorance, that you are perceiving this creation. Mind and all comes later. Everything, chitta and all comes much later. Karma comes much later. This creation itself is perceived due to avidya. Again, his Takya Kalam, he says that only when you start with the three Omkar and the Ganesha bhajan, then the Guru bhajan can start. After the Swami's chanting, if you just stop there at the center and get into eternal silence, there is no three Omkara, no Ganesha, no, the bhajan will not go up to the Subramanya. If you stop at that and do not ever come down from that transcendental state of Atman, self. The Omkara Ganesha Bhajan will not start. Omkara Ganesha Bhajan is your perceiving of the creation. And there will be so many flavors, so many Sai, Sarva Dharma, Devi coming here. the clapping and the ecstasy and all those things. Those are all positive aspects in the bhajan sankirtana. But here, in the context of the creation, all those things are what? Your merriment, your enjoyment, your entanglement with various objective aspects of this creation. There in the Sankirtana, you at least sit and clap. Here, you swing and dance in this creation. You get gripped by this world. Don't start, I mean, exist in the fourth M, after the M, the silence. Exist in that silence, full stop. Like he gave them a 41 minute meditation many years before 2012 13. And after they took some time to even absorb that and start meditating on that, he gave them another big shock. He said that don't start with the first minute, stay at the 41st minute, even when you start. There is no need for gradual progression. You stay at the ultimate state. Don't come down at all. The poor sadhakas have got shocks after shocks after shocks after shocks. Though the Acharya was very much mindful of their state and so many things he has not given them until 2018-19, still he is filled with compassion when he thinks that when he has given in the 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, poor sadhakas, how they would have taken all those things, because how much ever control when it flows from the source, certain things cannot be controlled. They realize that the whatever he gave in that this thing, uh, even the karma session for that matter, even the satyam anantam session for that matter, even the creation, those things which he gave at when they along, because the mother bird and the child bird, few of you should be remembering, the mother bird takes the child bird along and it restricts its speed also as per the child bird slow. The guru and the sadhaka, when the guru and the child, the sadhakas, they flew to a loftier higher level, then he gave all those spores, all those secrets at that transcendental level. The dimension changed. The sadhakas jaws opened, awestruck. They said, oh my god, Acharya, what you gave on the subject into. So he has been very mindful. Still, so many things have flowed at that. So, so Ajatavada is something very difficult. Very difficult to even get convinced. Even Mananam is difficult. But the truth is that there is no creation. It will always be remain as a mystery, because this truth, howsoever he drives, he grooves into your very identity. This truth that there is no creation, you will realize only when you realize self. Till that time, it will be a beautiful revelation, a, a amazing truth, and all those expressions may be there. Still, you cannot feel that, because as long as your mind gets involved into the creation, you can never ever experience the truth that there is no creation. That is why he gave a session in 2014, mind is equal to consciousness. So, avidya, from the avidya, the creation, and after the creation comes, and let us reverse that line, and thereafter they lived happily forever. Here, thereafter, the jiva wept in tragedy forever after he was gripped with avidya. The Vedantic meditator with the power of the Viveka and the discrimination is able to assert the absolute self. And in meditation, the mind is held standstill. The senses turn back to their source. The ego is not allowed to make further arrogations, and the chitta or the store of the samskaras is held in check. Thus, the Vedantic meditation, which seeks to destroy the cause of avidya, automatically overcomes the effects thereof and burns the seeds of the past impressions, vasanas, samskaras, which are lodged in the heart. The knots hridaya granthi, avidya kama karma, the knots of ignorance are rent asunder and the individual becomes the supreme. So the purpose as a jignasu, as a sincere spiritual seeker, is to take up intense nididhyasana on what you really are, where the mind, the chitta, all of them take a backseat, and it does not end there. To extend that impact of that nididhyasana for to start with for half an hour, then 1 hour, for half a day, one day. He has been trying with such force, with such intensity. He slaps, he scolds, he hugs, he does everything to few sadhakas. Why? Only for this extend that impact of the nidhyasana throughout the day. So that your mind does not join hands with creation. Your mind is identify creation. Avidya is there. If avidya is there, mother, father are there, lot of possibility that they will get children in due course of time. Avidya is there means raga, dvesha, ityadi will come. Vasanas will come. Chitta, from the chitta, vasanas, samskaras will manifest into vasanas, and vasanas will push your raga, dvesha to act. NBCA session. Like a machine on off switch, you cannot control your mind. By its very nature, mind is uncontrollable. So what you have to do? You have to envelop, you have to cover, you have to pervade that mind with the impact of the nididhyasana. You have to stay like floating balloon. You have to exist in that impact of nididhyasana. That is why he keeps on asking, like the mother maintains that child's a diary and keeps on noting, keeps on. We have noted, so we know that we keeps on every milestone of the child. Like the first time the child turned, from there onwards, keeps on noting this. Acharya keeps on asking with such compassion, such excitement, such inquisitiveness. What was the impact on Nididhyasana? What did you experience? When he gets a big feedback, he says, okay, all right, my child, what was the impact? What did you experience in the Nididhyasana? Now understand why, like a parrot, I don't know. Maybe even some of you may even get irritated sometimes. He don't know, doesn't know. He should not be ideally, because you understand his love and compassion. Because he is asking, because only whatever you have understood clearly out of this session, that now today's take home lesson is that avidya, only due to avidya you are identifying creation, and the major milestone is that avidya is not there at all. So, like Sundar, brother Sundar told that keep repeating, I am God, I am God, I am God. Keep asserting to yourself in the waking state that I have no avidya, I have no, though you may be manifesting avidya and the after effects of the avidya throughout the raga, dvesha, other things, keep repeating like a parrot, I have no avidya, no avidya, and in the nididhyasana state, transcend your avidya. That means transcending avidya is equal to, mathematically, it is equal to transcending the creation. And stay there, transcend the creation, stay there for a while. And like a alcoholic stays in that impact, stay in that impact for a few minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, few hours, till the lunch, till the evening. That is the purpose of sadhana, that is the purpose of acharya's teaching. Not for giving you textual knowledge, not for filling you with the knowledge on avidya, but equipping you with this knowledge so as to transcend avidya. That is the purpose of the transmission of knowledge from here to there. Understand? Is always particular. He receives 4 sheets sometimes. Is one line that sadhaka may think, what is this? This master, he is, instead of appreciating us for our f- four pages of our this thing, stupendous task of absorption, he is asking one line, what did you experience? He is not putting you down, he appreciates, because those 4 pages cannot come unless and until you have seriously done the introspection manana. Very good. When he, but if he says very good, you will stop there, you will not convert that into nididhyasana experience. He does not undermine that. He said, okay, okay, you have studied everything, everything is crystal clear, crystal clear. I know that you are very clear in the theory, but what did you write in the examination? That is the question. What is your experience in nididhyasana? And he's telling you, reeling you. No mother would have ever waited for her child to come back and tell the glory of the child's achievement as a guru waits for hearing the nididhyasana experience of his sadhakas. He's touched to the core when he is sharing the secret with you. He's touched to the core. Because not for him, what your nididhyasana experience will give him, you tell. One who has transcended the creation. The nididhyasana experience of tens of devotees, what is God? That is only like a kavacha of the karna that is going to protect you when you get into this shark of this creation, when you get out into the world, which is waiting you to swallow you suited and booted 100% every day. Because you have got the protection in terms of all these teachings. Contemporary, staying in Muscat, staying in India at the same time, even your own family members are. How many others are also, you cannot blame them. How many of them have got the same treasure which you have got? So you are not at the same pedestal, same levels. So they cannot act to you how you can act to them. They are bound to disturb your composure. They are bound because they have not got all these things. The worst of the human beings you perceive, if apple to apple comparison, for all you may know, if they have also got all these treasures, maybe they would have crossed you. So never judge anybody. One more lesson. Okay. We will skip a few things here. We'll maintain the timing. Okay. When one gets, this is the 5th verse, but he has kept it here. Why? You will know. After talking all about avidya, this is bringing to the end of this chapter on avidya. When one gets knowledge of the self, this avidya vanishes. It is the destruction of the avidya is that is the Brahmic seed. The realization of the self is the destruction of avidya, wrote the Acharya with prostration to Maharaj Krishnanandaji. He says, the realization of the self makes it is not destruction of avidya. The realization of the self makes one and laugh when they realize that there is nothing called avidya at all. There is no need for destroying because there is nothing called avidya. I was all along gripped with that because of my mistaken notion. There is nothing, avidya is not a villain to be creating all the problems for me. I am the hero, I am the villain. I was the one who forget spiritual ignorance is avidya, forgot what I am in real spirit, and I assumed a doctor, as long as in his white coat he looks good and does he justifies the role of a doctor, but out of the fancy, suppose he has yesterday night he has seen a movie where all the dacoits of Rajasthan were seen. So next day to the hospital, he wears the black dhoti and the black kurta and puts a big tilak as the 70s, 80s movie, this thing dacoits seen in movies. Puts a big tilak and puts a big turban and all this big ear, this thing, and goes to the doctor. It is his mistake or that movie's mistake. It is not the mistake of the creation. You forgot what you are and you are trying to, there cannot be a better example to drive home this truth to you of our mistaken identity. Who asked you to forget your real dress of your white pure coat? Because there you are going to the hospital to bring smiles to dozens of people, to perform operation to clear the this thing, dreaded diseases. Similarly, we are all that Shvetambaras, we are all that pure Atman. White signifies denotes purity. We are all that pure Atman ever. And this example has just come at this point of time, this moment, his grace, not his credit, not to his credit. Instead of that, we forget that purity, shuchi to ashuchi. Ashuchi to, let us go from original to duplicate. Okay, avidya is thinking the impure to be pure. Here, let us turn the table. What we are doing, we are going from our pure white status Atman to the black tamas ignorance avidya. Anandamaya Kosha, deep state, dark state, he explained. We are enveloping ourselves with that dacoit dress of avidya. Our mistake. At the end of the journey, you realize I was neither a doctor nor a dacoit. I was neither pure nor impure. I was neither a uh, I can say I was neither in existence nor in non-existence. I can never say Atman. I can never say Song of Selves. I am neither Atman nor Brahman because I can say I am pure doctor. I am pure Atman as long as there is somebody in me in this jiva to announce, to think and proclaim that I am pure Atman. You transcend that state also. Silence. To conclude, he's skipping few things. Just he got up from that state of transcendental samadhi few days before, and he tuck 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 tuck. He gave 10 steps to, I think, 4 sadhakas in this planet. Whether you are able to take it or not, whether you are able to appreciate it or not, and last thing, whether you are able to practice this or not. Intuitively, it came from within that this has to be given. So it has been given, thrown open to the world of sadhakas, mumukshus, not only for as long as internet will exist, this is thrown open to all the world of mumukshus for all ages to come. First, whatever glimpse he is writing from that state, so immediately it is coming out like that. You imagine yourself, at least visualize and imagine that you have also sat, you have sat with Acharya and you are sitting there, and you also, and some miracle happened and you were gliding along with Acharya. That was that day, your day for realizing self. And as effortlessly in a second he glided to that state of samadhi with eyes closed, you also glided, and along with that he was holding your hands, and you also crossed the samsara. You imagine, visualize. So whatever he is telling you, apply to yourself. After you have got that state, suppose with the guru you have got that, once you have got that state, the first step is, that is your state. He wrote here Brahman, he wrote at that level, Brahman is that state ever. You apply to yourself, you tell that that is my state ever. Now that that day, by miracle, it happened, and I was with my guru, and I also got that subjective experience. In that state, before coming into the waking state of consciousness and facing the world, in the transition period, you think for a second without active thoughts, oh my, this is the actual eternal state. First step. Second step. And somehow you and all have emerged from that state, which is Brahman. That is, first is the state of Brahman. Second, my state, Atman, it is the same state. Okay, first state to take as Brahman only. That is the state of Brahman eternally. Second is, it is the state of me, because there is no manyness. We started this session with that. There is no plurality. This has to be, this is the, not has to be, this is my state, eternal state. Third, naturally, since Brahman is only that state which you experienced in your glimpse, we would have emerged from him only as that state. Understand? It is a state. Second and third, you can club together. In the flow, it came like that. There were no thoughts at all. Second and third club, and you understand that Brahman, that is the state, eternal state. And all that emerged was and is only that Brahman only. So I am eternally that's Brahman only. So reaffirming. Okay, in the Vedanta, in the treatise, some expressions are repeated again and again. So here, it in the flow, it came. So I affirm that we are sincere practitioners. They can play this part of this session for a few days and meditate. After this, they glide with that and then switch off and then be meditating on that. So I affirm, stamp that I am ever that state only. So this was not in the 10 steps. He is adding for other sadhakas at various levels. So here, instead of the usual state of spiritual journey, which presupposes avidya, which presupposes other kleshas, vasanas, pains, sufferings. Moksha Gita first tortured, tormented by the world, he goes and cries to the Acharya, falls at his feet and says that, teach me Brahma Vidya, take me out of the samsara. So that is the starting. Love for God, love is God session. He said, there comes a point in our life when everything looks to be false, everything looks to be untruth. All friendships, all relationships, everything seems to be just a vacuum. So, this dissolution or this feeling of vacuum is the starting point of the sadhana, usually. Here, in these steps which just emerged from the source, as the source, through the source, here the tables are turned. The starting point is not the disillusionment state. The starting point is the state that Brahman, creation, creation is nothing but Brahman. I am eternally, I am ever that only. And the starting point is the 41st minute of the 41-minute meditation. Starting from the top, fifth step. If it is true, $1 million question, then why these agitations, why these disturbances are coming to us at all? Because we have now very clear that we are eternally that Brahman, that Atman. If we are ever that, then how the world can have the potency, the power to shake our state and create us agitation, create this agitation disturbance in us. Sixth, but sadly, disturbance has come. As long as one is there in the samsara, even if he is a jnani, he will be hit by the lashes. This was not in the 10 steps, he has added these lines. He will be hit by the lashes that this creation gives him by way of humiliation, pain, backstabbing, diseases, etc. etc. Even an incarnation is not left out, bared by this world when he takes a human form. What all allegations were leveled as even against Swami. For any few of you are aware of what all allegations were leveled against Swami and how much we devotees used to, body used to tremble. And at that time, this realization had dawned, not dawned, but used to really tremble that what sin you are committing, about whom you are leveling this kind of allegation, which is applicable only to animal man. He is not even God man, he is God. What you are doing, it used to, tears used to come, body used to tremble. Because at that time, this wisdom had not dawned. So, the world is waiting to disturb you from morning to night, not to blame the world as he told. They have not got the Brahma Vidya as you have got. So, disturbance do come, has come. Seventh step. What is the solution then? I am divine. I believe this. Shrutis declare this truth, and my Acharya has filled me to the brim, about the brim, the sessions after sessions, continuing with messages after messages, compassionate messages, scolding messages, slapping messages, hugging messages, motherly messages, fatherly messages, divine messages. Every message is he's incessantly pouring only and only to drive home this truth that you are that self. But contrary to my existence as self, here I am undergoing miseries, disturbances caused by the so called cruel world. Till the time you realize Brahma Satyam, you live in the experience that Jagat Mithya. The world is cruel, cruel, cruel. There is nothing like cruel, or there is nothing like kind at the end of the journey. When the feature film ends and the curtains are drawn, the end comes. There is nothing cruel. There is no one cruel, or there is no one kind. There is no one Anatman and there is no one Atman. There is nothing called creation, and there is nobody to tell either that there is no creation. All na muktir na bandha chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. Every duality is transcendent. But till the time you are gripped with avidya and you are undergoing the miseries, all those people, instruments to clear your karmas, those who are causing you miseries, they are appearing as rakshasas, cruel to you. Eighth step. Till this step, with self pity, you can all 100% identify yourself. Eighth, ninth, tenth is very difficult. And here is what is the challenge with whatever he has fed you or whatever Swami has taught you. As an organization member, or as a spiritual seeker, or as a reader of the Sanatana Sarati or the Satya Sai Speaks, or as one having blessed with Darshan Sparshan Sambhashan, whatever Swami has given, whatever Guru has given, or whatever any other Guru has given, this is the challenge. 8th, 9th, 10th is the challenge. Come out of that Jiva you, who is having that disturbance, or you either come out, you say that either the knife falls on a tarbuj or tarbuj falls on the knife, the impact is the same. Either you come out of that jiva who is having all the miseries, or throw that jiva out of you who is having that miseries. Let you be there as source, and let the jiva you created by you remain separate from you, and make him sit separate from you to undergo all experiences in this creation. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad session uploaded, maybe 4 or 5, 3 would have done the action replay, they would have again listened, and one more, 2 more might have listened maybe. He revealed, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, he did not reveal, Upanishad revealed that in the dream state, you are somehow mysteriously equipped to create your own another you. If you are Ram, you are creating another Mr. Ram in the dream, because you are the one who is witnessing that Mr. Ram there, undergoing various experiences in the. If you had not created that another you, then how you can experience you apart from you? How can the experiencer be different from the one who is experiencing? So in the dream, every dream it is happening that you are gone, you have developed the power of the Almighty, you are able to create you, another second you, who is undergoing all the dramas in the dream state, and you are experiencing, you are able to tell it out. And since it was your creation, your imagination, you are able to laugh it out that oh, I that uh, in the dream I was undergoing all these things, it was all stupid, it is not true. Brothers and sisters, children, youngsters, why can't we have the same power and in the waking state create another person, replica of us, and allow him to undergo the experiences in this life? If you are creating in dream, why you cannot do in the waking state? Pray, intensify your prayers, intensify your nididhyasana. In the dream, you are doing every day, day in and day out. Tell me, if you had not, if there was not another one, okay, other than you, then you cannot say that you had the dream, you saw that person doing this logical, you think it over. And you can also laugh it away that it was all false. Just extend to waking state, do the same thing. Ninth step, just watch that jiva going through all good. Ishwaram Sakshi Bhutam. You be a witness to your own created being and let him go around and have all the experiences in samskara, because karma has to be cleared. Okay, if a Jivan Mukta has to have cancer, means he will have cancer. He has to have heart problem, he will have. He will, if he has to have leprosy, he will have leprosy. If he has to have throat cancer, you can identify who all jnanis. He is not repeating the names. One has to have throat cancer, one will have throat cancer. All the jnanis were able to separate that person from them. That is the secret. So when Chenya would have undergone the heart surgery, he would have never felt that I am undergoing an heart surgery. He smiled and he laughed and Chinmaya is undergoing. There is another separate being. Coming to the final 10 step. If for doing this, it seems to be impossible. How is it possible? In the dream, I am not in my control of myself. I agree with you, Master. It happens. I am creating. In the waking state, from where I draw that power, how I can do that? What you are telling? You are giving us like the Nani used to show the moon and then tell to the child that oh there the God is there, all these things. All stories you are giving, how you can do. Final 10th step. You, the pure essence, after you get up from the dream, give your hands to Swami from the moment you get up till you sleep at night. As long as your hands are in Swami, you will be able to exist as self source. So, if not in an explicit manner, in a very subtle manner, you have been successful as long as Swami's soft hands are holding you, and his fragrance, not the artificial, a fragrance of Brahman avatar, which is mysterious, which can be experienced only by a jnani. But try from today, because you have to get to that realization. That is the goal. You have to run towards that. You cannot say that no, next birth maybe. Next birth, if you are not able to achieve realization, you as a jiva now, you are going to be the same jiva for 10,000 births. 10,000 births, you will not be able to achieve self-realization. Start the journey now, this moment. As long as you are physically and spiritually and in all aspects, you are able to feel Swami's presence holding. he holding your hands means it is a very, very clear step. It is at a subtlest level, it means that being in Swami's presence from morning to evening. Explicitly, you would not have created a human being. Lo and behold, without even your efforts, you are lost in that mystic, hypnotized, not hypnotized, mystic, overflowing experience, wholesome experience of being in the presence of your divine Lord in a very subtle manner without even your deliberate efforts as per the step 8 and 9 to create another person and keeping him apart. This has happened. How it has happened? What is the benchmark? What is the proof that it has happened? Because you, the one devotee, bhakta, who has given your hand to Swami, is not able to experience the pleasure or pain which the world is giving you. That is the full proof that there another jiva is existing other than you, who is left to clear his karmic debts to get all those experiences. You are merged daily from morning to night. As long as your hands are in Swami, you are a realized soul. Nothing less, nothing more. All these things you will not get on lessons on Avidya. All these things you will get only out of one who has treaded the path of bhakti and jnana together equally, and then seeing the other side of the shore and still, still holding, giving his hands to Swami from morning to night, truthfully, honestly. Only he can culminate, only from him the source, not this physical Satyaji, not this Acharya. From only that source can give you the secret of how effectively 100% you can be beyond avidya every day from today onwards. How many get such unbelievable revelations or unbelievable practical hints or practical ideas or practical possible things on this earth to be effortlessly be able to be defeat avidya and to be in that state without even getting into intense nididhyasana in the waking state, not possible. How many in this world at this point of time, as contemporaries of you, would be getting such lifetime practical lessons? And even then, if you don't practice, you may have an excuse to get away saying to the master. Many few of you do come and tell him that perhaps this is my praptam, this is my fate. If you were existing with him in the Kutir, in the Himalayas, resounding slaps you will get, resounding slaps. Your ears will be hearing that impact of the slaps until night. Because if you have left everything and come to his feet, at least he is sure after his slap, you will not go out of him due to ego. Okay, sitting here, he cannot do that, but he curbs all, not that anger, that anguish of seeing his ignorant children, and he reverts that no, it is not prartham, it is your lack of purusharth. If you are, if on a day you are not able to feel your hands and Swami's hands and live The whole day, it is your weakness. Don't call it as your fate. Fate may fetch you disease. Fate may give you all the hardships. Your house, two, three houses built in back home in India, they would have been some storm or some government rules or something. All the houses may be come bulldozed to the grass level. You will lose your money, your bank. Some stupid, not stupid, some normal bank, private bank has gone bankrupt. Your money might go. You will have this. All these things will happen. Still, if you will, if you wish to, after getting spoon fed like this by the one who has practiced and seen the other side, if you wish, if you have developed the conviction, just by giving your hands to him, you can stay unaffected by all those experiences. That means, in effect, you have created another sadhaka, replica of you who is experiencing those things. If you are remaining as your own self, it is difficult for you to believe that I am not affected. So, like spoon feeding and almost inserting the spoon into your mouth and then and praying to you, crying out to you, please have. He has also given the secret of creating your own person, another person. What more? And the takers are few. 10 people listen, 3 people, 4 people meditate, two people or one person or two may take it into their heart, and one of you may, he's not, in no name is coming to his mind. Don't think he's thinking of someone. One may take it into the nididhyasana forever, and one or no may realize self ultimately what he can do. That part of yours, that efforts, he cannot replace that. Okay. To conclude, to culminate on that experience, what it gives you, giving your hands. This is extract from a long, not poem, it is a book written by Muruganar, dedicating to his guru, Ramana Bhagavan. For you, it may not be able, you may not be able to dedicate, draw these lines in your heart for your guru, whosoever your guru is, because for being able to dedicate these lines to Ramana Bhagavan, it is utmost necessary that along with Bhagavan, it is necessary for Muruganar or any devotee to not to be in this creation and to be at the feet of their master forever. So it may not be, it is not possible at all. So you take these words for Swami, and we will end. Long live the fragrant lotus feet of the true one who releases us from our ignorance, avidya. He it was who, as I suffered in the whirlpool of birth and death, transmigration of birth and death, forgetting the inescapable reality of the beginningless link between the head jiva and the foot self, inspired in me, wretched cur that I was, the madness of devotion. He instilled in me the madness of devotion. He removed the defect of the wandering ego mind, shaped me into a comely form through the purification of my consciousness, kindled the flame of jnana for my salvation's sake, made me perform the fire sacrifice of jnana through the observance of devout austerities, bathed me in his blissful gaze, and became my Lord and my Master. When the I thought does not arise and I unite as pure being with him. He remains merged with me, shining out as my very own fullness. However, the very moment I raise my head, Jiva, to perceive ancient form, he sees my oddness and conceals himself from me. You concealed yourself within me, Hridaya Guhara Madhye. You concealed yourself within me like the oil within a sesame seed, so that your presence within me could not be clearly discerned. Because of that veiling known as ignorance, avidya, the truth within my heart was cloaked entirely in deep darkness, avidya. And in this condition, the mind somehow turned outwards, manyness. Through the power of multiplicity, which deludes and shows the world as the five sense perceptions, my mind, which knows them objectively as that, became bewildered and deeming them, the sense perception, to be profitable, sought them all, destroying in me the ideas of I and mine. You yourself became for me that I and that mine. You arose as the majesty of the luminous supreme, all transcending consciousness, so that the base part of my nature shrank out of shame to the size of an atom. Then, O supreme reality, you revealed that even that tiny atom was also false. As you dwelt in the quintessential purity of your own self, imagine a disciple writing, flowing from all these lines from a disciple towards pure. Will that disciple see that master ever in the physical form as Samana Bhagavan? These expressions can flow only after the duality, even the duality between the disciple and the perceptor has ended. Na guru naiva shishya. Even that has gone, and still out of the gratitude that you were the one due to that, the formless guru, you were the one due to one. I could also transcend my form, my ego. There is no form of the guru. The guru expression has been replaced by Parabrahma Tattva. Then these expressions flow. You hold Maya, which creates. We were told in the previous, Ishvara is the master. He says his master is holding, which creates the illusion that this nature does not exist, totally under your control, such that the awareness of those who have obtained your grace does not stir even slightly. Even the blackest of crows, when it alights upon the beautiful golden Mount Meru, is transformed into the form of pure gold. In just the same way, even those jivas who are entirely without a distinction will, upon joining the presence of divine consciousness, one's own reality, attain by its glorious majesty the sublime form of the self and shine, shine. Therefore, my Lord and Master, may you bestow upon me that Mauna, whose form is the expanse of true jnana, imprinting the truth upon my heart, so that I no longer perceive myself as a form of flesh and blood. Hari Om. That's it.